Hello, this is AvenueX's video answering your Q&A questions. First, let me say a big, huge, bear hug level thank you to everyone who has left me questions or just messages of encouragement. Thank you so much. I'm really appreciative and grateful for the fact that I have so many people from all over the world loving what I do on my channel and sending me just cute, lovely, and sometimes surprising messages. I have gone through the questions under that video, and there are many questions that kind of repeat from different people, so I'm gonna combine them and answer those questions, those collective ones first, and then we're gonna talk about a few specific ones. First, a little bit about me. I am from China. I was born in the city of Chongqing. I think I mentioned that multiple times. If you are interested in knowing more about my hometown city Chongqing and other stuff about me, there will be a live stream session on Thursday evening this week, Central US time, where I would show up on another YouTuber's live stream session. His channel is called Reporterify Media. He's a Canadian who has been living in Asia for a long time, and he has made a lot of videos on Chongqing, my hometown city, recently. I will send out the links and other information about the stream as it approaches. I'll leave a link to Alex's channel in the description box below. Please come and join us. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a really interesting live stream session. In terms of my real name, people ask me it's weird to call you AvenueX, and I agree. The reason that I didn't let people know my real name, these days on internet, your information can get everywhere. It's kind of already hard to manage that, and it doesn't help with the fact that you put yourself on camera and there are hours and hours and hours of footage of you online already. Also, because I do drama reviews, so I inevitably talk about dramas, about entertainment business in China, about actors, actresses. If you've been following my channel for long enough, you know I ran into some epic shit show back in 2018. It's one of the reasons why I do not want to let people know my real name. Chinese fandom is pretty insane. Even though if you're in China, there's the Great Firewall that will stop most people from climbing over to YouTube, but still, even that is like if you have VPN, you know? I think like after like half a year or even a year after that whole thing, people still got onto my YouTube and then left essays of accusation under some of my videos, which is just like insane. So I decided not to let people know my real name, just to add that very thin layer of extra protection, which literally, if you really want to find out, it's not that hard. Also, the fact is, it is a quite hard to pronounce name for people who do not speak Mandarin Chinese. I have never come across a person who does not speak Chinese pronounce it correctly by just looking at the spelling of the version in Roman alphabet. And both the first name and the last name are like very easy to mispronounce. So combining all those reasons, that's why I am staying as AvenueX. You can call me Miss X because it's still one letter in my name. I have already let you know something. Then many of you have asked, what is my day job? Well, currently my real day job is YouTuber. If you haven't tried being a YouTuber and putting out 3 videos a week just as one person, like no one helps you at all, it's kind of already the limit of what I can do. If somebody is doing much more than that, then they definitely have a team, like realistically, to get this to work. Also, I run my own shop, so that's the big chunk of my time and that goes to that. I also sometimes accept freelance work in my real 3-dimensional life. But those are the things that I do currently, so that would be my day job. Then some people ask me about my shop. Quickly mentioning, I do ship internationally. It's just if it's outside Canada or the States, it cannot be tracked. It depends on how reliable your local mail service is. Usually it gets there fine, but then, you know, the next stage of getting to your door is totally dependent upon your local mail service. It has been my pain because there are so many things I want to develop and design and make and know I can make. I just cannot make them because currently I'm totally just under the control of Canada Post, which has a lot of limits about what you can ship. Basically, everything that I do are, you know, very flat stuff, like paper stuff, because it can go into letter mail. Once it becomes a parcel, once it has 3-dimensional size, it just like the postage goes up like crazy. Then moving on to the next question, people also ask me, they really missed my old videos, mostly on 10 Miles of Peach Blossoms that are no longer available on YouTube. So if you still don't know, if you check my description box, it's always there. It's on Hotpot TV. I've moved those ones that had copyright issues to their platform, so it should still be there. there. If you're interested to see every sort of MV music video-ish edit I've ever made on dramas, on films, head over to my Bilibili, which is also in my description box. That is the place where I have all my edits available. It is in Chinese, but it's very easy to navigate. Just click on all the thumbnails and pretty self-explanatory. Then, for some reason, multiple people, like actually probably the most amount of people ask me what are my favorite dramas or films or whatever. I think I have to make a video on that because I try to figure out what is my favorite, and I really don't have one. I just probably have too many, and also I don't want to compare certain genre with other genre just because they're like totally different species. I'll leave that to a video that I'll remember to do. Also, many people ask if I had the choice to pick the perfect script and then the perfect cast and under my control, what would I make? I think that would never happen because the realistic thing once you've worked in the industry is so many things are out of your control. Even if you're the producer, even if you're the director, you don't have full control, you never will. It just doesn't work like that. There are many good stories. Like I said, there isn't a favorite story I love in this world. So it depends on what the story I'll get. Once I have the story, I will know who would be the perfect people to be those roles. I cannot just imagine a perfect script that I actually do not know what it is and then think of who is the perfect cast. So it's a very difficult question that I cannot answer. I hope that doesn't disappoint people, but being very frank is I cannot answer it. I literally cannot think of how I could approach this question without knowing exactly what I'm dealing with. Then a lot of people ask me the reason for coming to Canada. It's pretty much a personal reason. First thing is, I just want to find an extra place to go in this world if I needed to, because 21st century is crazy. As you can all agree, like watching this video, so that means you have lived through at least the first 6.5 months of 2020. You know what I mean? Because shit can happen at any time, at any place, and it would be nice if you have an extra place to run to. I mean, if it could happen, I would love to actually get another place. So I'll have 3 different countries located in 3 totally different locations on this planet, just in case shit happens that I have a place to go. So that's why. Also, just because it's relatively easier to immigrate here than other places. If you ever tried immigration and going through the process and getting all the stuff ready and fitting all the criteria. For the people who can naturally have like multiple nationalities, you're so lucky. You have no idea how much shit you need to deal with. And I have a problem with China's big city is it's too noisy and crowded. I can't quite explain. Some people may get it. It's not tangible. It's like when you're in a very crowded place, where I live in China, for example, it's like multiple tall residential buildings are in close proximity within an area. Even though like at night it's really quiet in your room, you cannot really sit down and be quiet. It's like you can receive the thousands of people surrounding you in close proximity. You can receive their brainwaves. It just makes it impossible to stay still. I would do really well if I live alone in the mountain, having a couple of pets. My soul age probably is really, really old person who cannot stand noisy places. So that's the second major reason to move to a country that's huge and have a ridiculous small amount of population. Although most of the land is humanly uninhabitable. A lot of people ask me how does censorship work in China. Long story short, nobody knows. Because in China, they never tell you what's the rules. That's the rule. The rule is we do not tell you what can be made and what cannot be made. Go figure. The reason for doing that is they would have the full control over it. Because once you list, you cannot do this, you can do that. It gives people more freedom. They would just say, yeah, I didn't go against your rules, so you would have to let me go through. Whereas now, when there's no clear rules, they can decide whoever they want to put out there, they can put it out there. And whoever they do not want your stuff to put out there, they can stop you from doing that. See the logic and the beauty of politics in that? So, how does censorship work? Nobody knows. What are the exact rules? Nobody knows. Look at China's film industry, there's no rating system. In that way, they can just do whatever they want. A lot of people also ask me, how do I watch that many dramas? I watch them whenever I can. That's like when you're cooking, when you're doing other stuff, I let it run on my iPad. I also tell people, you know, like how many episodes I've seen when I do first impressions. And if I do a final review, that means I've seen the whole thing. So I honestly watch everything I say I watch and how many episodes I told you I've watched. And then people also ask me, do I watch other countries' dramas apart from Chinese dramas? Yes. Not so much ever since I started my channel, because 24 hours a day, hey, when I can squeeze a little bit time in, I do watch some Korean dramas, some of the States or the UK dramas as well. The only one that I've been watching recently is the Korean one, It's Okay Not to Be Okay, because I love Kim Soo-hyun. Ever since my love from the start, like who cannot not like him? Really, honestly, this guy is amazing. Good actor, great singer, pretty decent person, and abs. Then some of you ask me if I watch variety shows. I do when I get time, and sometimes I do watch them just to laugh. So the popular ones in China, I know them, like Recent Sisters Who Make Waves, earlier The Youth With You, although I didn't see through the whole thing. Then people have asked me about my previous work experience in film and television in China. It's been a long time, and I think I've mentioned it multiple times here and there in different videos. I did work on television series, the 2010 Hong Lou Meng, and I did work with a director who makes films, who's from the same city as I am from. I've also worked with my friends who did like independent small digital films that never did go anywhere. And in terms of like what position, the weird thing about that is sometimes the title is just the title. It has nothing to do with what you do on the crew. When you go and work in Chinese drama and film industry, you'll realize that because it's a very underregulated industry still till today. For example, my official title for both like the drama and the film I mentioned was like director's assistant, but I didn't really assist a director. I was more like a researcher and a continuity planner for the drama, and then I worked more like an assistant to director on the film. I remember there's a concept artist who designed for the drama. When he got there, the first job he got is fix all the computers in the office because he can. And they don't want to hire a different person. We had those styling photos of hundreds of actors and who did the shots and put on the costumes. Part of your job is to go to a photo developer and sit there and watch them develop and take all the photos away, make sure it doesn't get leaked. Like that's a part of your job too. So like, is that director's assistant? What is it? You know, there's no definition basically. Once you're on the crew, whatever they need you to do, you do it. Unless you're in specific departments such as like lighting, gaffer, for sure, you know, you deal with the light. So it's kind of clear what you do. I also remember one person, I can't remember who you are, sorry. You asked very specifically since I worked on Hong Lou Meng. So I had contact with all the people who are now huge stars in Chinese drama land. Yes, at that time, what my impression of them is, they're just people. When you're doing a production, it's actually a work. There's very little romanticism attached to that. At that time, they were super young. Some of them were like, what, 14, 15, 16, 17 years old. What can you say? They're just kids. They're just happy kids. That's a job for most of them, the first job also, so nobody had any idea about what they're doing. So my impression of them are just like really pretty, good-looking young kids and pretty much have no idea about how to act, so everything has to be taught by the director, by everybody, like step by step. And you can't tell like at the time who is gonna get big. The funny thing is Huang Xuan is in that drama as a very small supporting role. I actually have the like written down record of on which day I met him because I was in control of writing down every costume and every look for every role and kind of plan that and number them and put them into a computer system and figure out in which episode, which scene, who would dress up in what costume, in what look. I did the whole drama, 50 episodes, it's insane. Anyway, I have the record of on which day, which actor came into the office and did what design of what costume. Last year when I got back to China, in my drawer, that old notebook, and it has a recording of him on a particular day coming in, and I was like, I have no impression. I try to remember, like, yeah, it did happen, it's on my notebook, but I have no memory of ever seeing him. I didn't realize I actually have seen him in person until many years later. I discovered his actor I really liked. So, you know, that means when you were working, you really are not looking at people, you're just looking at what you're doing. Back then, nobody actually guessed like Yang would become like the first most popular person who would got out of that whole group. It was too early, basically, at that stage to predict anyone's future. Then a lot of people ask me about my handphone, where I got them, mostly on Taobao. Only a few that I made myself. Some of them are not really realistic to historical handphone, but I bought them for fun. Do not misunderstand me as a person who would wear that every day at home. No, it's extremely inconvenient. I'm not dressed up in hanfu all the time. It would make me mad if that happens. And then people ask me about qing, whether they can learn to play it. If they have a piano basis, it's easy to play qing. Qing is really not that difficult in terms of starting it. The only thing is if you want to move a piano song or a popular whatever song to qing, there's a lot of figuring out to do just because there are multiple positions of the same notes, and you have to figure out how your hand moves to be the most reasonable way of getting it out, and then also figuring out how chord works is a little bit tricky. When a song needs to change key in the middle of singing it, the chord kind of like doesn't work anymore. And in terms of why all the dramas do it wrong in China, I have no idea. I have kind of given up on it. I can't remember which drama did it really well. Like, if you really want to be strict about like just looking at like a proper playing, even some of the dramas that people said it's really well done are not. It just doesn't look real at all. It's a cool instrument. It has that cultural implication of being like highly educated and posh and the show off ish. Somehow nobody gets it right. It's just one of those sad things in life. We're gonna see bad qing playing still, probably for a long time to come. Then let's look at a couple of specific questions. There's somebody called Reality. You said my voice sounds really nice. Thank you. And you also said I sound like John McClane. Do you mean the makeup YouTuber? Do I give you the same vibe? A couple of people asked me my favorite food. I think people should stop asking me favorite questions because I will never be able to answer that. I love too many things. Also, I am very, very changeable. So today I like something, that's my favorite food. Tomorrow it's gonna be another thing. As long as they're super spicy. And in Chongqing style spicy, then I like it. Mary asked me how long does it take for me to make a video? Depends. Like, if you don't count the research and preparation time, just like start shooting, editing stuff, it can run from 5 to 8, even 10 hours, depending on how much work goes into the editing. Like when I did the poems editing, it probably took me like at least 2 days or 3 days to finish one because the editing is just too much. You have to type in so much stuff, you have to move them. So depending on what type. But if you want to count watching the dramas that I'm gonna review time into that, then the time grows. Lucy asked me what's the plan for my channel, that type of question. I actually have no plan. I would just leave it to run as far as it can go, because currently I'm still okay with it, like with how I do it and what I'm talking about. I do have stuff I really want to do, but it's hard to squeeze enough energy and time to do the things you want to do. I'll just leave it naturally develop and see how far it will go. So I have very, very vague plans. And G-Man has asked me, how am I? I'm very well, thank you. And also, what's the best thing about doing YouTube? The best thing is meeting you guys. Honestly, I would not have known that many people would love the stuff I talk about, are interested in the stuff I talk about. I know for Chinese dramas, the largest market probably will always be domestic market, and it's much, much, much bigger than international market probably will ever get. But still, I'm really happy to find out there are people out there who are not from China, who may have nothing to do with China in their life, still find Chinese drama entertaining and Chinese culture interesting. There are advantages of doing a small niche YouTube channel, so that I meet you people who are so specific in your taste and interest. Lina Zhu Lina asked me what's my zodiac sign and my star sign. Zodiac sign, I'm gonna keep it secret because if I tell you, you know how old I am. Not that actually I have a problem with that, but keep personal information closer to my chest. As for my star sign, I'll leave it as a homework for you. I have the exact same birthday as Lan Wangji from The Untamed. Like the character, not the actor. Go and research, you'll find out what my star sign is. When I found out I was born on the same day as he did, I was like, oh, interesting. And then I realized we both play Qing. And then I realized when I live stream on China's social media with a friend of mine, or a couple of friends of mine who are all girls, and when people hear our voices, they would always pick me as the top and the other people as bottom, like in a GL relationship. If it's true, I'm like, why? I have no idea. But apparently people think I am more on the top side, so that's Lan Wangji as well. Not quite sure if I should be happy about that or feeling a little bit weird. Then somebody's name I cannot pronounce asked me about China's 50s, 60s films. I have to admit, I am not a huge watcher of those old movies, but I know there are some very classic ones, really good ones. And 50s and 60s are not yet super crazy. It didn't get super crazy until 60s to 70s, and during those times, like, no good work really came out. But if you're talking about early 50s, even backwards, like in the 40s, 30s, there are some really good films. Maybe I should make a video about them in the future. I have so many kung that I've dug. I need to fill up. Everyone asked me what's my go-to rewatch drama. I actually go to rewatch a lot of Korean dramas when I need them because they're short. They're much shorter than Chinese dramas. I think I've wrote a blog about the ones that I really love. So Korean dramas, mostly if I suddenly need to binge stuff. You also asked me my lipstick. I'll put a picture of it here. So this is an old one. It's kind of already gone. I need to get a new one. So most of the red lipstick you see is a Marni Rouge Ecstasy. But it's really old now. It's probably expired. It's just me ever using it, so it's okay. Also, people have asked me multiple questions, so I'll just pick one or two. Hopefully that's not offending you. Alan, I think I see you every time on stream, so thank you for supporting my channel for so much. You did ask me about if I could time travel, when and where I would go. First choice would be go back to ancient India to see Buddha. I really want to see what he looks like. Because in the Buddhist text, he kind of looks like an alien who has so many features that normal human just would not have. I want to see it for real. And probably get a private lesson from Buddha. That would be so cool. Oh, that would be so cool. Anyway, so that's the first choice. The second choice, I'll go back to Qing Dynasty and grab the last 40 chapters of Hong Lou Meng from Cao Xueqin before it got lost. I want to see the original ending that he wrote, not the weird ending that Gao Le wrote. IZ also have asked me multiple questions. I'll pick one from that. You asked me if I have a superpower, what would that be? I would want to be able to teleport. I really would love that. How much it will save me. Money, time, everything. It would be so useful, like when you're pretty much like invincible in many ways, because if like shit is about to happen, teleport to a different safe place. Then if I have a second choice, mind reading, then I will have no friends. Nobody would want to be around me. How sad. Oh, and to be able to talk to animals would be really cool. Imagine being able to talk to a dolphin. They're probably cleverer than we are, so like we can discuss quantum mechanics. Oh, then you've got me started. I would really want to have the ability to access multiple dimensions in this universe. Maybe that's too greedy. Yeah, it's not something humans should attempt. I think that would probably literally blow my mind so that, yeah, this three-dimensional human body would just... And that would be the end of this channel and me, so probably shouldn't try to attempt that. Also, Wendy Zilla, sorry for screw up your name. You asked me you really like those Chinese style songs and you wonder what are my favorite ones. I'll remember probably to write a blog about that. I don't know how it works with making a video just because I probably get like 10 copyright claims out of that video. So probably I will write a blog. And if I forgot, do remind me. China Girl asked me, did I notice stuff changing in China since I came here, which is 2012. I go back to China all the time. Not this year, obviously. I can't probably even if I wanted to. Previously, mostly every year I go back. Things change a lot in China. There are things that have moved towards the direction that I'm not happy with, but there are things that have developed quite a lot and I'm really happy to see. It is just currently how the world, a lot of countries and people view China is very weird and twisted and problematic, I would say. And I think honestly 2020 is a very interesting year. If we look back in the future at this particular time, we would recognize as a point of some very big shift for the entire world's everything. This is my feeling about this year. And I think ultimately, if you survive and if we all survive this year, if we can grow more wise and more observant and kinder and more evolved after we've gone through this year, then this year has served its purpose. That's the most important thing individually. Then I want to finally mention Wendy Wood, what you wrote to me. Thank you so much. You said I didn't like The Flame's Daughter and you were super mad, but then you still watch my videos and even if I don't agree with you, you still watch my videos. Thank you so much. If only everyone is that reasonable. Literally, if everyone can agree to disagree. Wouldn't that be great? I know there are people who have very similar taste who watch my channels. Nice to meet you guys. I know there are people who totally do not agree with me most of the time, because the dramas I just don't like, they like a lot, and but they still watch my channels. So I feel really happy to meet you guys too. How nice it is. It's not that easy to always listen to people talk about the stuff that just does not agree with you, but you still are willing to listen. Honestly, it's just dramas. It's not that important. It's not the most important thing. In real life, if you are a Marvel fan and the other person is a DC fan, you can still be good friends. You don't have to kill each other. And you can still love your own whatever studio you love, and have meaningful, funny, heated, but friendly conversations and argument about which one is better. And that's how life should be. Because if everyone is the same, then why bother having 7 freaking billion people on this planet? We can just have one person. That will solve all the problems. But that will be a very terrible world to live in. Okay, so that's the end of my Q&A answer video. Sorry I didn't get to every question. That would be literally impossible to do, but I think I've covered most of the questions people have asked. And I have to say that again, honestly, sincerely, earnestly, thank you all for sending in your messages and questions. I hope you'll have fun. I hope you're enjoying your time with my channel, however long that may be, and get whatever you want out of my channel for you. Thank you for watching AvenueX. I'll see you in my next video. Meanwhile, live long and happy drama watching.